McAllister still going strongly in the closing minutes. Great one by Kevin McAllister! What a goal that is! Delivery's good, there's Hagan. Now McGrillen, he scored!
It's Stokes on a hat-trick! Goal number 3 for Anthony Stokes!
Ralston saw off Robertson and delivered! Sybil scores! That's the goal! That's the moment! Samuel off and running again. Is it going to be the hat-trick? You know it is.
This is Falkirk Daft.
It is Falkirk Daft, your unofficial podcast dedicated to everything to do with the mighty Falkirk Bames, and it seems an eternity ago since we last spoke. This week we look back at Alloa and look forward to the Scottish Cup final, quarter-final against Ayr United. I'm saying Scottish Cup final, I'm getting well ahead of myself. It's been a bit of a topsy-turvy week though, to say the least, and that will be the last time I ever use the phrase topsy-turvy. But let's look back at it together, and as usual I am joined by Mr. Ross Wayne. Hello, Ross.
Good evening, sir. You doing okay? You're smiling probably like me.
I am smiling. I tell you what, I wasn't smiling a week last Tuesday, that's for sure. But we'll get into that. We'll just briefly touch it. It seems like so long ago, but I think there's things we need to discuss about that match against Alloa. So we'll get into that in a bit. You were obviously in Darvel on Monday night. I missed it because not only I thought just work-wise, because I start at ridiculous early hours of the morning, I wasn't ever going to kind of make it up and back just because my alarm goes off at 4. So I sat and watched it on the telly. I'm glad I didn't get a ticket because I had food poisoning. So I sat in my bed basically watching it, feeling sorry for myself. But it didn't stop me cheering like hell when those 2 goals went in quick because it's succession.
Well, listen, I definitely cheered both of the early goals. I didn't see either of the goals go in, but I definitely cheered it. It was one of those moments where it was quite surreal because people, obviously, who at the front who could see, started going mental, and you're like, oh, we've scored, so everyone else has gone mental. It was so bad in terms of like how many people were there in that tight space.
Yeah,
really, really bad.
A lot of complaints about the crowd, but I mean on the telly it was fine, Ross. I'll be honest with you. But what a great atmosphere, and we'll get into the Darvel game a bit later on in the show with our guest pundit as well. But I listen, before we get into the podcast, I need to big up Temple. I was in Temple on Friday night, Ross. Right, okay, I know you're looking at me strangely. I wasn't in for the traffic light party, for the Valentine's traffic light party. However, I was in, there was a gig. Richard Jobson from the Skids, Fifer, who was doing a kind of Q&A, and he had Mark Metcalf, who was in a band called Goodbye Mr. Mackenzie there in supporter. Bumped into well-Kent faces, and actually one of our former guest pundits, Scotty Steele, and Sandy Muir as well. So good night had, was in the Colonial, had a couple of pints with Sandy and Scotty in there. Found out, however, the best fact from Sandy. So Sandy's a bit of a mod, likes his scooters and what have you. And, we were talking about gigs that had happened in Falkirk, big gigs. And found out things like Ultravox played Grangemouth Town Hall, Simple Minds had played there. And there's a legendary gig that happened back in the 70s. The Jam actually played the Manakee.
Wow, okay, didn't know that, no.
So there you go. Now, this is where the story starts to grow arms and legs, right? Because I was informed on Friday night after this gig that Paul Weller, we all know Paul Weller, lead singer of the Jam, Style Council, obviously Wildwoods, Stanley Road, all that sort of stuff. Paul Weller's favourite curry house in the entire world is the Sanam.
No.
Apparently so, right? Now, Sandy told me this with a straight face. He also told me about a man in Grangemouth who stole Paul Weller's shoes and still has them to this day. But I don't know how true that is. But yeah, so basically, Jam played the Manakee, right? And that happened in 1977, right? The Sanam opened in Falkirk in 1976, right? So there could be a possibility this story could be true. So I'm now going on a mission to find out if Paul Weller's favourite curry house in the UK is the Sanam.
Brilliant.
So this is my current mission. I am going to get on this. I know people who know people who know people. And I'm going to try and get to Paul Weller and find out if this is true, because this would be a podcast exclusive, right?
Brilliant.
So let's make that happen. So that was Paul Weller fact. And another fact we found out, and this was just before the Alloa game, Ross, you were with me, is that there are only 2 grave diggers in the whole of Falkirk.
Yeah, that was a random
A random conversation before the Alloa game, because you know what it's like when you go to the football and you just have, you're waiting for the game and the players are getting warmed up, you're chatting about the football, chatting about just random things in life, and one of our friends turned around and said, do you know there's only 2 gravediggers in the whole Falkirk district?
That's what not going to the pub midweek happens to.
I know, that fact absolutely blew my mind. And then we got in a conversation, how long does it take a body to decompose?
This is all pre-match as well.
This was all pre-match. But there, a couple of facts for you. There you go. Number 1, Paul Weller's favourite curry house is the Sanam. And number 2, there are only 2 gravediggers in the whole Falkirk district. There you go. Fascinating facts brought to you by Falkirk Daft. Right, so a couple of bits and bobs to talk about, and let's talk about it first of all before we get into the game, because we know we're through now. The Scottish Cup draw, it couldn't have went better for us financially, and I'm guessing the board are thinking, Celtic and Rangers away would have been nice. However, the best chance we've got of getting to a semi-final
is this tie.
Really Ayr at home.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, mate. And obviously we didn't know we're through by this point, but it would have been the same wherever you watch the draw. But the bus for Monday night, they leave in LA, it's at 6, so pub's pretty busy with everybody in going to the game, and it was a hell of a cheer when it came out that we got Ayr. So we just needed at that point then to go and beat Darvel. So you had that doubt in the back of your mind: is it going to be for us? And we now know it is. Brilliant draw. Can't wait to get the confirmed details. I don't think it'll matter though. I think there'll be a huge crowd there.
Yeah, I'd love it to be. It would be amazing if it was the Friday night game, because presumably the Old Firm are going to get the Saturday, Sunday, because they're showing 4 games. Viaplay will have 2, the BBC will have 2.
You would assume so. Yeah.
Presumably the Old Firm games will be the Saturday and the Sunday, which means it's either Monday and Friday. If it's a Friday night under the floodlights at the stadium, what a night that would be.
I know. And we've done well with Friday night games. Like Queen of the South recently, and then we beat Partick on a Friday night. But I think, regardless of when it is, John, I think there'll be a huge Falkirk crowd in there. Ayr, I don't know, they're not as well supported as they used to be. I think they'll maybe bring 500 or 600 through.
I was looking at their average attendance actually the other day. They're getting kind of average kind of two something. Right. Just around that, so they might bring 1,500, maybe a bit more than that.
I don't know, mate. I don't know if that's too advanced. Maybe worth.
Well, it depends on the night. If it's a Friday night, they might bring. If it's a Monday night, they might bring less.
Yeah. But I think there'll be a right good crowd there. Hopefully, it's priced well. I know it's a quarter final, so it's not as if it's going to be 10 quid, right? But well, obviously it was 20 quid on Monday night and I saw nothing. So even if it's 20 quid, I'll at least see some of the game at Falkirk Stadium. So, but yeah, hopefully it's priced well and there'll be a big crowd in on TV. We know it's going to be on TV anyway. And what a chance we've got to get into a semi. Amazing.
I'm just thinking of how TV works, and like if they would get a bigger audience on the Friday night or the Monday night. I don't know how that would work. Depends. It might be I'm just thinking we'd get a bigger audience on a Monday night, but then the Monday night's up against Monday Night Football and Sky. I don't know how it works, but yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that game.
I think the club have put out one of these newsletters earlier, just an hour or two ago. What's it called? Bairns View, they call it. So, and they've said they've actually said on there'll be an announcement very, very shortly about the timing of the game and the day, the fixture. So I don't know if we'll get a price of the game, but we'll certainly get the day and the time.
Well, one thing I would say that it has spoiled my hospitality in Montrose for that weekend, because I'd booked up hospitality up there. So now I've lost all my money on my train fare. I'll get the money back from the hospitality, but all the money's been lost in the train fare.
So you're going to have a day out in Montrose on a Saturday, are you?
Well, there's the possibility, however, Ross, let me tell you about this, that we might move it to Montrose versus Dunfermline, because we're playing Kelty on the Friday night. It's the day of Scotland, and Montrose kick off against Dunfermline at 4:00. So there is a potential that I might be in the Montrose end to support Montrose against Dunfermline.
Give them hell, John.
That's potential. We'll wait and see about that. Listen, we've been on the competition on our social media. If you don't follow our social media, where you been? Get us at Falkirk Daft on all channels. And we've been running a competition to win tickets to the now sponsored Logicom Speakers Night, which is to raise money, obviously, for the Academy. Peter Martin, Alan Ruff are going to be hosting that on the 3rd of March. And we have tickets to give away to that night, Ross.
We do. So I think it's been the last 2 weeks, actually, we've been running a competition, as you've just said, to win. I'll just bring the post up just now, actually, while we're doing this. So yeah, it's to win two free tickets to the Speakers Night. So it's worth about 120 quid. So well worth having entered. Lots of people entered on our Facebook page and on Twitter, so we'll check that just now to see which medium we're going to go to try and find the winner. But yeah, really good. So as you say, Peter and Ruffy are the speakers. Sounds like it's heading for a sellout. I don't know if there's too many tickets left, maybe a few tables. So if people aren't successful, just get in touch with the club to buy their ticket. It sounds like a brilliant night, and obviously it's raising money for the Academy, which we all want back.
No, absolutely. Ruffy's a really good speaker. I've seen him before. Right, so how are we doing this? We go flip a coin for what? To determine first of all if it's Facebook or Twitter. Yeah,
so heads for Facebook, tails for Twitter. Firstly, let's do that.
I'll flip the coin in, and it is tails for Twitter.
Right. Okay. So what we'll do is currently 31 people have retweeted the original post, which was what we asked them to do. I'll start scrolling. Just tell me stop and whatever. I
see what you're doing. Yep, right. So start scrolling. I'll tell you when it's stop. Right. Go.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay. My finger has landed on. His Twitter handle is Homer at Homer's Twin.
There you go, Homer's Twin.
There you go.
Well done, mate. You have won a pair of tickets to that Speakers Night at the Shire. Congratulations, Homer's Twin. Do you think he's called Homer's Twin because he looks a bit like Homer Simpson?
Let me check.
I would certainly hope. We check his profile picture.
Let me check it. Oh, do you know? I've just went on his Twitter and it looks like it's his birthday. You know how Twitter tells you when it's somebody's birthday. So there we go.
Well, what a birthday treat that is.
That's a wee birthday treat for him. No, I don't think he does look like. No, I don't think he does look like Homer, actually. It must be a nickname from days gone by. There
you go. Well, there you go. Well done, Homer's Twin. They're on Twitter, winning tickets for that Academy Night. And like Ross says, tickets are still available if you fancy going down there. Unfortunately, Ross, and for Homer, Ross, you're on his table, so you behave yourself, all right?
No, I can't promise it.
Right, well, fair enough. Right, so they've got a shout out to do as well. It comes in from Paul Lawson, who's looking for a shout out for the Falkirk seniors team who are playing Dunfermline football fans in training on Sunday down at Little Kerse. Kick-off 4:15 p.m. down there.
Oh, that could be tasty.
Senior people against football fans in training. It should be an interesting. How old do you have to be to get in the senior team, I wonder?
No, it's not like seniors as in like 60s. Is it not like plus 35 or something like that?
Or I don't know. I thought that was over 35s. I thought
no. I think you have to be 35 and over or something like that. So it's not seniors. It's like
right. Okay, that's taking the vision out of my head that I had about over 60s kicking flying about against.
No. I think you just need to be over 35. I'm sure.
Right. Okay. Right. All right. Fine then. That's fine. So get down to Little Kerse 4:15 to hopefully a Bairns win there. That would be very tasty.
The first of many against Dunfermline, hopefully.
Exactly. Bit of news from the club, not much this week. The only thing that's sort of come out from the club is the SPFL Trust Trophy between Raith and Hamilton. That's going to be held at the Falkirk Stadium Sunday 26th of March. You know, it's going to be on the telly. It might be worth going down, having a watch at that. Yeah, it's going to bring money into the club, presumably, you know. Yep. Anyway. So
yeah, no, good to see. And as you say, it might not be a huge sum, but do you know what? The stadium might be like where it would have been lying empty that day anyway. So no, good to see, and not one for me. I don't know if I'd fancy going down to watch it, but
I don't fancy either. But yeah, I'm trying to be encouraging and try to be positive, you know.
I don't know what kind of crowd. Do you think Raith and Hamilton all?
Well, are Raith not going out for a third on the spin? I think this is Raith. I think this could be Raith. Raith could be up there challenging us for going for 5. I'm sure if Raith win this will be their third Challenge Cup one on the spin.
Okay. Well, on that case, let's root for Hamilton then.
On the Hamilton. We don't want our record broken. So we'll wait and see what happens there. The other thing happening is the FSS AGM. It's coming really, really soon. Deadline is just passed for joining to be eligible to vote or stand for the election. The AGM papers are out now for that as well. Nomination window opens the 17th, this Friday. Closes on the 24th. The election window then opens on the 27th, closes on the 10th of March, and the outcome of the elections will be on the 13th of the 3rd. We spoke to Stuart on last show. He's standing down, obviously, a few people standing down from the committee. So they're basically looking to build the committee up with this election again. So that's the dates you need to know. If you're a member of the FSS, you can get involved, nominate yourself from this Friday for any of the positions available. So that's happening there. Right, before we get into the Darvel match, Ross, I think it would be worthwhile, like I say, looking back at the Alloa, and I just want to kind of skim over Alloa for obvious reasons, but we'll get our guest pundit on for the Darvel match. But yeah, let's look back at last Tuesday in the match against Alloa. We were both through at the Rex for that match, and the immediate thing that hit you is when you looked at that team lineup and went, what the hell is going on for a team that has been so John McGlynn's been so consistent as team changes. A lot of people shouting for Burrow to get into the side. You know, obviously we brought in the new guys, Wright and Allen as well. And then you looked at that side against Allen and you went, what's going on? Morrison out, Kennedy out, and Gary Oliver dropping to the bench with Ramon, Jordan and Finn coming into the side. Went slightly tactically different, playing a kind of... Was it a 4-3-1?
I think it was like a 4-1-3-2 or something, but it just didn't work. Burry did it. It didn't work at all. And let's face it, we were kind of out of the game until he did start to make the changes in the second half, but it was pretty turgid. It was a tough watch up until then.
It was. I mean, the first half was pretty tough going. I mean, a couple of things to talk about. You know, there was Alloa obviously hitting the post. That was sent worrying signs there. There was a chance for Ramon. I know you were screaming at him when he cut back inside and then tried to square it when he could have just tried to place it there. It just didn't look like we had any floater game, and we went direct. I mean, that was obviously, and you just wonder if that kind of thought process from McGlynn was that this is what it's going to be like down at Darvel. So, and Mick Kennedy was watching in the stands, and you thought, I'm going to try something different here. And I mean, it just didn't work, did it?
No, it was probably the poorest we've played since. I'm thinking, remember the Dundee Challenge Cup tie back in early December? I think it's the worst we've played since then. Just didn't get going. Excuse me, just didn't get going. The formation, they looked as if they were just all over the place. Like we forgot how to play with each other. As you said, the changes came in. Not bad changes, because Jordan Allen's a good striker. Ramon Burrow's a good striker, as we know. And Finn Yates in the midfield doesn't sound like that's his natural position. So it just seemed to throw them. And if anyone was going to score, it was definitely going to be Alloa until a particular point in the game when he made the changes. And you score so late on, and you think that's you done. And I remember turning around to you, and that was probably a schoolboy error by me, but I remember turning to you just after we scored this. There's your 7. We've not done 7 before. And then lo and behold, we don't get the 7 runs in the bounce.
An absolute knife through the heart. I mean, the triple sub, and Morrison in particular came on and looked like he had the bit between his teeth. You know, involved in everything as soon as he got in. Great finish, great. Loved that from Gary Oliver. Great Fox in the box. Brilliant finish from Gary Oliver for the goal. And at 87th minute, like you say, you're thinking,
it's done.
Done. Just see it. And then for some unknown reason, Brad Mackay thought he was playing volleyball. And I mean, we could see it. We were behind the goals at the other end, and you could see as soon as it was a blatant penalty.
What was happening last Tuesday? You had Mackey, who misjudged the header and thought, I'm just going to catch the ball. And then he quite rightly gets hooked by John McGlynn. And then you've got Mackay.
Okay, he didn't shake it. By the way, I noticed that Mackie didn't look like he shook his hand when he went off. He was raging.
I noticed that. And then you've got Mackay doing that at the end there as well. And you're just like, why are we throwing this away? And it was thrown away. And do you know what didn't really help as well? And I didn't realise this until after the game, but the guy who scored their penalty was the wee shite who was fouling constantly all night and didn't get booked.
Yeah.
So, the ref we know only too well in this league. But
yeah, Callum Scott, by the way, was Tuesday night's referee. Callum Scott, just to out him there, another terrible match. We had a good shout for a penalty as well, but I mean, Morrison had that chance when it was 1-0 as well, and he hit the side net in, and you're just like,
we thought it was in at our angle as well, didn't we? We thought it was in.
Oh. I know. But I don't know what Big Brad was playing at. He's been I think Brad, up until him, was having a great game. Actually, over the last month or so, Brad's been excellent. I really think and I talked about him on the show, and I think, he's just strong at the back. He's physical. He's great at set pieces. And we'll get into it a bit later on, but the one thing worrying me about that in that game in particular as well is just set pieces and corners.
Yeah.
We saw that, I think, at Darvel as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he's good to have in the box for those things. And I worry slightly from set pieces when Brad's not there as well. But yeah, it was a bit of a killer. And you know what the biggest killer of all of it was? Some stupid arsehole in Clackmannanshire Council decided to set up roadworks during the game.
Yeah.
What is
going on? It should take an hour and 20 minutes to get back from bloody Alloa.
It was murder. Getting out Alloa. I don't know what idiot said, do you know what, Falkirk could just come over to play Alloa. Do you know what we'll do during the game? We'll set up some temporary traffic lights ahead of the Clackmannanshire Bridge. Early
an hour and 20 minutes. An hour and 20 minutes.
I know. Early contenders for Falkirk Dafties of the week, by the way. Traffic lights set up at the Clackmannanshire Bridge, right. Couple of views from the supporters, Ross. We'll fire through these before we get into the Darvel game. Stuart says, absolutely woeful till we made the changes. Till that, it was only Alloa that were going to score. We now need to stick with 4-2-3-1 formation. It's two up front, doesn't work. We need Kai and Cal wide as our biggest threat. Given the performance, first half, I was happy with the point.
Yeah, well, that's kind of. I think that's what hurt most because
I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that point up until
three, but
I don't want to be that point up until 87th minute.
Indeed. Killian says appalling play from us most of the game. Burrell and McCann seemed well off their game. Morrison was a saving grace for us tonight, and the referee couldn't tell the difference between Connor Salmon's bald head and the floodlights.
Jimmy, we were fortunate to get a draw 20 minutes in. It was clear the selection was a mistake, two up front, but no width was always going to be a struggle. We still get bullied in the centre of park as well. I can see that, but I think Henderson, and we'll obviously talk about further when we get into the Darvel game, Henderson has made a massive difference in that middle of the park.
He definitely has made a huge difference. I wonder if, and I'm a big fan of him, we're a big fan of him, but Finn Yates just didn't work well in midfield on last Tuesday night. I thought he came on and did okay on Monday, but against Alloa, that just never worked. SP Offshore says fair result, if not a lucky point for Falkirk. Burrell shouldn't start. He's great for bringing in late when opposition defenders are tired, but if he starts, he gets tired at the same pace and is nullified. He also encourages the team to launch long balls, more often leading to loss in possession. Morrison needs to start every game. It's clear that he's our best player, if not the best player in the league. He just needs to get out his own way with his temper and trying to be the sort of big guy, I suppose. But
he went, obviously, I think Rick quite rightly, he went absolutely ballistic at the referee and the linesman because he was getting fouled, and it was like...
you can understand why he got frustrated with the ref, and I think I would have took a booking off him as well, to be honest, but he just, the ref was just awful. Again, feels like a broken record.
It does feel, in this league, it's absolutely terrible. Jim says we didn't deserve to win that game, not by a country mile. So, it wasn't a kick in the balls, really. To be honest, the one ball game is very frustrating to watch. It was very un-McGlynn-like to play that way. It was like we thought we'll play out their own game, but it just didn't work. We're lucky versus Kelty and didn't deserve anything tonight, in my opinion. That was from Jim back in the
Indeed. And then last but not least, Stuart says 85 minutes felt like a good point. Feels like 2 dropped now, though. Confident we can go on another 5 or 6 game winning run. Here's hoping.
That's something we need to do, because flash forward to Saturday and we're all sitting, watching Sky Sports Centre, listening to the radio, whatever you were doing, and you start hearing the scores coming from the Penny Car Stadium now. 1-0, 2-0. 3-0, and you're going, here we go, this is it, brilliant, thank God for Airdrie. But then they get a man sent off, and it was just...
It looked a dodgy sending off as well from what I saw. I never watched all the game, obviously, or just saw a snippet, but tough going to get.
I know, for the neutral, I mean, you think maybe they just don't get a man sent off, they take the penalty, but it's just like, it was hard going, and then this is the problem with Dunfermline. It's going to problem. They've only lost 1 game this season. They've only lost 1 game. They've not lost a game since going back to October. For us to expect them to, bear in mind that we've got 2 games against them, but 7 points. It's out of our hands now. Do you know what I mean?
It is currently, but they do have this double header with Airdrie. Maybe they won't win both games. Well, fingers crossed they don't win both games. So Airdrie are going to need to go to Easton Park now and put another shift in and try and...
I think it might... Well, hopefully that on Saturday's fired up. You hope that when that happens on Saturday. But it was a bit of a killer. After the result on Tuesday, then seeing that happen on Saturday, you're just like, Jesus. It's going to be tough, and I've got my head in the playoffs, Ross. I'm sorry, I've got my head in the playoffs now. I don't think
give up, John. Never give up.
I know, and expect the unexpected and all that sort of stuff. But my head is firmly in the playoffs now after that week.
Listen, the playoffs aren't compared to where we've finished the last couple of seasons. The playoffs are definitely seen as an improvement. So let's give the team and John McGlynn that credit. It is definitely, but it's Dunfermline and we're not a million miles away in terms of points and stuff. I think if we didn't have the games in hand, I think I'd be where you are. I think I'd be sitting thinking this is done. But we do have the games in hand, and I just don't see them winning.
Game in hand. Let's just call it that.
And I know we need to we need to go at it as well. But yeah. It'll be tough. But
and the thing with being in the Scottish Cup now, moving that Montrose game, I don't know why, but moving that Montrose game to a midweek fixture as opposed to a Saturday fixture, I think that goes against us as well. I don't know why my headspace is like that with that, but
don't know, John. We've done well midweek games most of the season.
Yeah.
So. And
I guess when you put into perspective, a lot of these guys at Montrose and teams like that will be working during the day and then going straight into a competitive football match night where we've got the full-time team. So that maybe works in our favour. But yeah, it's going to be an uphill struggle. But, like you say, 2 wins against Dunfermline, back to a point, and just win all the games we possibly can, starting against Alloa on Saturday, which we'll talk about in a bit. But let's talk about the big game this week. The whole of Scotland against Falkirk. Every week on Falkirk Daft, we like to welcome a guest pundit on, and this week, of course, is no exception. Please welcome to Falkirk Daft, it's Callum Wilson. How you doing, Callum?
No bad guy, yourself.
Good man.
Great, yeah. Good to have you on, Callum. Right, listen, we can see, if you're watching the video version, you're actually live at the stadium as we speak, working for the Falkirk Foundation.
Yep.
Tell us about the work that you do there, Callum.
So basically, I coach for different major programmes, and I've been here for nearly 3-4 years now, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things that's happened to me.
What made you get into it, apart from your love of Falkirk? What inspired you to get involved with the foundation?
I think it was playing football. Like I got a leg injury, which made me lose my leg, unfortunately, when I was little, so I couldn't play football.
Jeez.
So I wanted to be involved in football, and I seen my dad. He's a coach here as well, and I'm like, yeah, that looks interesting. So it was through the school. I came through on a work placement for a week, and after that work placement, I decided to stay on, and then no regrets at all.
Brilliant, Callum. Glad to see. So we've got a lot of good young players coming through the system.
Hundreds. Hundred. I've coached loads of good kids in that, and some have got huge potential in them.
Oh, that's good to hear for the future. Love to hear that. So let's talk a wee bit about your journey as a Falkirk supporter. Then, Cam, you mentioned your dad there. Presumably, the support Falkirk came through your dad. Then,
not really. No, he's more like a Rangers fan, eh?
Oh, really?
My family's split. Some of my mum's side's Celtic, some of my dad's side's Rangers.
And you're the good guy in the middle.
But I used to be younger. I used to support them, but Falkirk would become a side team. But I went to more Falkirk games. And I thought, you know what, just make Falkirk my main team.
Brilliant.
Listen, that's good. Converting another one, I love that. I love hearing those stories from convert someone from the dark sides. I always say it's like the Sith Lords in Glasgow, and then we're like the Jedis in the Falkirk. I love a wee Star Wars analogy. Me. So, who's your favourite Falkirk player then, Cal?
Sean Mackey. Just needs to be Big Sean.
Big Sean. There you go.
Big Sean. Oh, Saki.
Of all time, Sean Mackey's your favourite of all time?
Not all time, no. All time. Matinho or Mark Kerr.
Pedro Matinho, what a shout that is, by the way. I don't think anyone's ever said Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro's a proper legend, isn't he?
I love Pedro. Do you know what? It's our mission. We've not done enough interviews, but we need to get an interview with Pedro. It would be unbelievable. Yeah. He's still working at the Sepia. No,
is he still local? Is he?
I don't know. I don't know if he is or not. But he was doing some work. He was playing for Bo'ness for a while, wasn't he, Pedro?
Yeah, I think so. I remember, but he did go junior, didn't he? So no, I don't know where he stays now. But that would be amazing to get him on. He would have some proper stories, a bit like Russell Lappy, who we're obviously going to hear from in the summer at the event. But Pedro would definitely have a few tales. He would.
Know. Absolutely. Actually, Ross, on this, we've not actually asked this question to you. Who's your favourite current Falkirk player? Because you've got your all-timers. Who's your favourite current Falkirk player?
I don't know.
Putting you on the spot here.
You have put me on the spot, actually. Do you know, probably currently, Leo McCann. Leo McCann. There we go.
There you go. I'm going to say Big Hendo. I love it.
I was going to ask you, do you know, I thought you might have said Cole Donaldson.
Cole. Now you put Cole in the mix. Big Cole. All I'm waiting for is for Cole to stand up and strike a free kick. Because there's been a few teases of it. As soon as Cole rattles a free kick in, that is, he's going to surpass Hendo. But I love Big Hendo. Love Big Hendo. But anyway, right, okay, let's talk about Falkirk versus Darvel, or Scotland versus Falkirk, I should say. Darvel 1, Falkirk 5. Falkirk 5. Where's your Fairytale now, Darvel? Gary Oliver, Callum Morrison, Liam Henderson, Aidan Nesbitt, Craig McGuffey, all getting the goals for the Bairns. We're back to normal shape, thank God. Back to our normal Kai Kennedy, Callum Morrison coming in, and then we had Oliver back in as well, with Cole Donaldson coming back in as well for Sean Mackey. And, the build-up was all about Darvel. We heard Mick Kennedy on this podcast last week. Mick Kennedy was in every bit of media on the run-up to the game. And, absolutely fair play to the guy, and fair play to Darvel for absolutely milking it. But all I heard on the radio, on the newspapers, on the telly was Darvel this. I think they can do it. Can they? Aye. Can they? No, they can't. No, they didn't. Absolutely not. It was interesting to see, and you guys were obviously at the game, but I watched it on the telly, and I don't know if you saw John McGuinn's pre-match interview with the BBC. He wasn't a happy boy, I'll be honest with you.
Do you know, I didn't see it at the time, John, but I watched it when I got back, because I don't know about Callum, I was absolutely buzzing when I got back. And even though it was really late, because the bus took don't even ask what route the bus came home, it was bonkers. But we got back quite late, and I thought, no, I'm going to watch it. So I watched the interview before the game, and John was proper
He was raging, wasn't he?
He was wired anyway. You could tell he was wired, but he was raging about the whole Darvel chat, and he was like, "No, we're." Do you know what I mean? We are taking this. This is all about us. We're not under any pressure. We'll do our own thing. And you even saw that. You know how they showed the clips of the players coming in. The players' brows were down, chests out. They were ready for it. You could see that, and just walking off the team bus. So absolutely brilliant for the team and the management. Brilliant.
Yeah. What was the atmosphere like down there, Callum?
Yeah, it was amazing by both set of fans. The Pyros were brilliant, to say the least.
Ross loves pyro, by the way. No pyro, no party for Ross.
Yeah.
Well, listen, he's right though. The colour, and we asked. Well, sorry, I asked because I know John's not on the pyro.
I'm not. I see. I'm like, I know you, Callum. You're young team, right? I'm like, what's all? I'm like, come on, what's this pyro? Someone could take their eye out with that. I'm like a dad here. I'm just like, listen, you're going to take someone's eye out with that. There's going to be health and safety issues here. And you know, in all fairness, actually, for the club as well, you know, you can get fines and stuff like that.
Listen,
Stone Island boy next to me is like, come on, bring it on.
No, listen, the colour, the noise, the Falkirk fans were superb on Monday. And let's face it, 600 or 700 of the 900 couldn't even see the game. They were there, they were singing, they were shouting, they were doing everything. There was loads of flags, the pyro was there.
Back to the pyro.
To be fair though, like John, it was like you saw it probably actually better than we did at the game. But and like, don't get me wrong, I've said this before, as much as I do like it, I like the colour of Briggs. It's not great if it's going to injure, like if it's getting thrown out of the park or a photographer's son. That's not great. Or your brother in this instance on his TV gantry. Obviously, that wasn't great for TV there. But I think the colour was the noise that was there, Callum. It was just phenomenal. The fans did their bit, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I heard Darvel fans a little better than the Aberdeen fans. I heard.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. In fact, it was we retweeted it yesterday. One of these YouTubers, Sam North, had done a video from the Darvel end, and I think he said the same. He'd been at Aberdeen, he'd been at the Falkirk game, and it wasn't just the number, because there was more Falkirk fans there than Aberdeen had. Yeah. But I think he said the noise was a lot louder as well.
And I'm pretty much, I'd like to see the draw made after all the ties are complete. But do you think that fired into the atmosphere, the fact that both teams knew there's a chance that, you know, Darvel looking at that Ayrshire derby, we're looking at going, if we've got a game at home against Ayr, there is a good, you know, we've got a chance of getting to semis. Do you think that kind of fed into that?
Definitely, yeah. Like, I think Ayr's the best tie we could have got out of that. Like,
aye, no, absolutely.
I was on the bus when it got drawn, and the bus was bouncing with the draw. Personally, I would have took Inverness here, but I think Ayr's much better.
No, I absolutely. Lee Bullen coming back to the stadium as well will be interesting. I actually went through the Ayr squad, and there's not one. Surprisingly, there's not one ex-Falkirk player.
Is that the only Falkirk connection that's there? Is it
the only Falkirk connection I could spot? I might be pointed out otherwise, but the only Falkirk connection I could spot is Lee Bullen. But surprisingly, there's not, because we've had so many thousands of players over the last couple of years, not one ex-Falkirk person in the squad, which is amazing. So early on, what did you make of the goings on early on? Was a bit of tension there, or we took control and got hold of the game fairly early on, I would say.
Definitely, yeah. Like, when they 2 goals went in, I knew it was game over.
Glad you're confident. They're glad straight off the back. I mean, it was, I think, Ross, it was professional from the outset, wasn't it?
It was, and again, I'll be honest. Obviously, my thoughts on the game are more from having rewatched it on TV, because I won't lie to you. I saw like 2 of the 5 goals live, because obviously the crowd situation, but absolutely phenomenal. You could tell we were up for it. Just as we said about them coming off the team bus, they were wired, they were tuned in. That was from the off. You could sense it. The passing was so on point. We were at them. We were closing them down. We didn't give them a minute's peace. And I actually fully disagree with some of the pundits on the BBC and others who are saying, "Oh, Darvel was still in it." They weren't. They were really, really. We were all over them. And even when it went 2-1, let's face it, they scored through an OG. It wasn't, they didn't score. They threw a cross into the box, and unfortunately, it's been fumbled into the goals. And I thought PJ was fantastic otherwise on Monday. But we were up for it from the get-go. I don't think there was any doubt as to who was going to win that game after 5 minutes.
When we got those 2 goals so quickly, I mean, brilliant goal, ball from Aidan Nesbitt, great work down in the corner, pressing, winning the ball back, brilliant ball from Nesbitt. It could have been Oliver, it could have been Morrison, because if Oliver had just let it go across and Morrison's in as well. Gary Oliver, great finish from him, knew exactly what he was doing, into the bottom corner. And then, obviously on the television, they're showing the replays, and then suddenly it flashes back, and then you've got another great ball, this time from Liam Henderson, and then Callum Morrison. So great first time hit, keeper didn't have the chance to set himself, right next to the keeper's legs, great finish from Morrison, and then you're 2-0 and you're thinking, like you say, Ross, professional, we're under threat, game's a bogey now.
Done.
However,
that's how it felt at that point anyway, yeah.
I mean, and I'm going to go back, we talked about that when we were briefly talking about the Alloa game. From set pieces, I worry. And we saw, if not from an absolute world-class save, now that if any goalkeeper on a stage had made a save like PJ Morrison did from that corner, it'd be getting talked about. What an outstanding bit of goalkeeping that was from PJ Morrison to keep us 2-0.
It was.
Absolutely.
Save of the season?
Maybe.
So far most important. It was, and I saw it very, very clearly actually at that point, because obviously there was a gap over someone's shoulder. But what a phenomenal save! And for me, as much as he made a cock up with the goal, he earned his wage and he earned his crust on Monday night. And I know there was a wee bit of chat on the bus actually, coming back saying, he's had his mistake. Do we drop him for Alloa? No, we don't. Let's back him and let him keep his place, because
I think that save cancels out obviously the mistake we'll get to in a minute, because we went in obviously 2-0 first half, fine. Darvel need to come out and get that second goal, and again I didn't think it was going to come. We came out professional, apart from Ian McShane whips the cross over and PJ spills it into the back of the net. Unfortunate, but at that point, are you guys starting to worry? I mean, there was obviously groans in the crowd that you heard audibly on the telly, but are you guys starting to worry when it went 2-1?
A tiny bit, aye. I'm like, oh no, we're going to bottle this year. Then when I thought they scored a second, I'm like, shit.
Yeah, there was that moment when that second goal situation, and I'm again, I'll go back to, I never properly saw what happened. I was more watching the crowd of Darvel fans across the way for their reaction. But there was momentary panic, but you just had that feeling for the team, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a worry on the telly when I was watching it, and I saw that side net rattle. But it was obviously Morrison that had caught it with his leg when he done it. But the whole Darvel bench obviously stormed onto the pitch thinking they'd scored, and it was just like, oh my God, it's going to go 2-2. This is going to be an absolute nightmare. I cannot go into work. And by the way, I work on the radio, and I said on the radio, I was fed up all the Darvel stuff, and I said live on the radio, I said, if Falkirk were to get beat off Darvel, I'd walk down Darvel Main Street in a Falkirk top a la Game of Thrones with someone ringing a bell behind me singing shame, shame. But luckily, at that point, when I was thought it was going to be 2-2, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to walk down Darvel Main Street. But it wasn't to be.
No.
2-1, continued. And then we get the sending off. It was, I don't think it was for the foul. I mean, the first one he has, McGowan, it's definitely a foul there. Second one, I think, was for persistent, because I don't think that merited a yellow on its own, but I think it was the one that had come before, where he battered someone into the side. I think the referee just said, listen, I told you no more of that. You've got to go after that.
And you know what? As much as we criticise referees, and we definitely have criticised Willie Collum over the years, he was the most competent referee we've had all season.
God almighty, Willie Collum was like a beacon of light compared to what we've had all season. Jesus, I never thought I'd say the day when I was saying Willie Collum, what a fantastic game he had. He didn't get anything wrong. He got everything pretty much spot on. So, bloody hell, that was. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this. But Willie Collum had a good game, and after the first one, it was a sending off, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
Oh, aye, definitely.
Yeah, but so then we go send it off, and you know what? There was only going to be one winner after that, and it was Liam Henderson, who was having an outstanding game, he was a monster in that middle of the park. He's pressing, his winning of the ball, winning of headers, his distribution, obviously with assists for the goal. He worked so hard in that middle park. Best game in a Falkirk jersey so far.
I would say so. More than deserved his goal as well, and it was such a nice goal to see. Like, obviously, it was a beautiful on the TV because you saw it from different angles. But live at the game, Callum, we were all kind of right behind it, so it was in all the way, and it was just like such a nice flick of his neck and his head, So, and as you said, John, more than deserved it.
Absolutely, a great ball from Callum Morrison as well, who again had an excellent game out there on the wing. I thought Kai Kennedy had a really good game as well, but yet I went on I saw Rangers forums slagging him off, and I was like, I thought he had a really good game.
I thought he did well. I don't know whether, do you think Rangers fans maybe have a higher expectation that he should be doing better in League One, or I don't know.
I think so. Aye, that's Rangers fans for you, Roy.
Well, exactly. See, you're a Jedi, Callum. That's why you know what you're talking about, right? But yeah, and then so 3-1, and I mean, from that point on, you're just like, it could be anything here. It could be, and it was. And let's again, Liam Henderson. He's now my new favourite player until Cole Donaldson scores the free kick. But again, pressing, determination, and it all feeds in from just that initial chat from McGlynn. I'd love to hear what he said in the dressing room before the game, because you could just tell they were, right, let's just go for it now. Yeah. Liam Henderson could have just stepped away, at 3-1, worked down that corner, won the ball back, little ball to Nessie, and Nessie, by the way, if he could finish like that every week, what a delightful finish from Aidan. What did you make of the goal, Callum?
At first I thought it was a cross, to be honest. I seen it in the corner, that's definitely a shot.
Oh no, it was a delightful finish across the keeper. Great.
But back to Hendo's goal. That's been coming for a while now. He's been deserving of a goal.
Yeah. See
it every week. He's trying hard, and I think he's finally got it. And then that's going to put confidence in him. Hopefully, he scores more.
No, absolutely. I think, and like you're saying, it's just the difference he's made in that midfield. He's a big thing to do in our, our 6-game run there. He's had a lot since he moved into that midfield position. We didn't talk about the injury to Brad Mackay. I've not heard anything about how bad it was to Brad Ross. Have you got any update on it? No,
not really, mate. It is a worry, because he's obviously been a real big player for us in the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. Callum, have you heard anything?
Callum's at the stadium. You heard what's inside scoop, Callum?
I've heard nothing, no.
He's talking. He knows what's this
crowd. I can tell with the smile, can't I? But it looked a sore one. It did definitely look a sore one. So hopefully he's not going to be out too long.
Because the last thing you want, because Liam's doing so well in that midfield, is, because with Paul Watson still not available, Sean Mackey's obviously Callum's favourite player, is going to go back in. It's a centre half there with Sean and Cole, which doesn't worry me at all. But if they pick up suspension or injury, we're then going to have to sacrifice Liam Henderson in midfield and back in. I wonder, and this is just pure speculation, that with the money from the cup run, and I'm guessing there's going to be money there with Mikkelsen being injured and going back to Dundee United. I wonder if he'll go out and try and get someone to just for cover for that centre half, like a loan deal from a club somewhere.
Yeah, possibly. You would think we're probably covered in other positions, although Mikkelsen obviously thought he needed that sort of.
But Lawal will be back. I mean, Lawal was surely. I saw Lawal kicking about there, so I guess he's on the cusp of the comeback as well. So we've got Lowell to come back in as well. So I wonder if centre half, and if depending on Brad Mackay's injury, if it is a bad one like you suspect, if that's where he'll wonder if I need a wee bit of cover there, because I don't think Paul Watson's going to make this season. Though he was right, I saw he was running on Monday there, Paul Watson.
Right, okay, that's positive. Then I like Paul Watson. I think it'd be great to have him back for whatever the end of the season brings, whether it's a cup run or playoff or winning the league, whatever we can do. It'd be nice to have him back for the end of the season. So, and you've obviously got, again, I don't know how far away it is, but you've got Ryan Wilson obviously in there as well. So as an option,
Right, Mo, you're centre half. Is this what you're trying to say?
Well, no, but as in the defensive cover. I mean, as
right, okay.
Yeah, more so defensive cover. But it's interesting. I think you're right, John. There's obviously the money situation. You would assume this is going to help fill. I don't mean fill the gap because they've told us the gap's filled, but it might mean that we're now not having to borrow money from a major shareholder to get us through the period. So, and if that's the case, that's brilliant, because it means that when there is more money coming in, we're not having to siphon it straight away to pay back someone. So that's our huge positive. But if there is any excess money, I'm sure John McGlynn will be chapping the boardroom door, especially as we can still sign a loan deal for another 2 weeks. So let's see what we can do.
Can't we say anyone about the club today?
No.
I see, he knows something.
He knows something, John.
He knows something. He knows something, I'm telling you. Right, anyway, so we'll wait and see what happens there. Fifth goal, again, goalkeeper did have I don't know if it was the goalkeeper's fault or more a defensive fault, but he came out, palmed it straight into Morrison. Morrison just onto the side. McGuffey just, taps it.
Nice finish.
Yeah, it was a good finish, first time finish from Craig. So good to see McGuffey coming off the bench. And he's a forgotten man, Craig McGuffey, but he does, when he does come off the bench, he gets goals, he affects games. So it was good to see him getting a goal as well. So
going back to the keeper. When the goals were flying in, my first thought was he was obviously in the media in the lead up to the game saying how he's taken the Tuesday off just in case. Well, I'm hopefully enjoyed his day off. Doing nothing.
I know, they were all like, I can just imagine we're all ready to go into Glasgow for a night out, and then
I know
Falkirk destroyed the dream. What a shame.
Yes.
But yeah, 5. It was 5. It could have been probably more. We really, after that sending off, we really came down on them. And again, I think we've got to give credit to Darvel. I mean, to get to where they are for a team that, are way, way below us in the league. And, it feeds into, I think there's always been an argument down, and maybe Callum, you know more about this from the foundation, just the pyramid system. There's been a lot of criticism of the pyramid system lower down, and there are a lot of teams in Darvel's league and about that bringing in big supports. You look at the infrastructure and the money around Darvel, and these are teams that could maybe, I've got SPFL goals, I'm guessing, and the pyramid is something, I guess, that, they down there, because I think the way of getting in, I think they've got to play so many legs and then play a Highland team to even get into the lower league, the Owen League. It's just like, there's something to be said about restructuring down that end of the table when you see someone like Darvel, isn't there?
I just think so, yeah. Like, I'm going to give them 3 seasons. They'll be in the leagues.
Do you think? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Very, very possible. Obviously, I know we're griping about the where the away fans were standing and stuff, but that would have easily been rectified had they done something similar like they did at the home end. So, and that's I'm sure that would be easy enough for them to do. But the pitch was like an absolute bowling green.
The pitch is brilliant.
It was amazing, and if you can't play football now, you shouldn't be playing. But I thought, good setup. Obviously, we had Mick on. He comes across really, really well. I don't know if he's keeping his sponsorship of the speakers night, because he said he took a table for that, did he? probably cancelled that now on the back of the result. But I agree. I agree with Callum. I think they'll be there or thereabouts in the next few years.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what they do. So there we have it. Not got a clip from John McGlynn this week because he didn't interview with Falkirk TV. Lewis must have been a TV issue, but Lewis didn't. Would you like to hear from Big Hendo I think, well, let's hear from Big Hendo, the main man of the game. BBC didn't give him man of the match. Absolute disgrace. Though Callum did have a very good game and he got it instead. But here is Big Hendo talking about the game with Lewis.
What does it mean to be in the next round?
Oh, absolutely everything. It's brilliant. Brilliant for the club, brilliant for the boys. We're all buzzing, so really good, aye.
Is that your best game in the Falkirk jersey tonight?
Yeah, I'd say so, aye. Enjoyed that tonight. The whole team worked really well and we needed that bit of dig and battle, and then the quality shone through in the end.
We knew there was going to be a midfield battle in the game, but you seemed like you really enjoyed that one tonight.
You know, definitely the Falkirk fans came through in numbers, which was really good, and we knew it was going to be a tough game. Darvel were a good side, they showed that, they beat Aberdeen, so we'd done our homework on them, and we've shown that we're well organised and we won the battle in the end.
High tempo at the start, very deliberate.
Yeah, it was, both teams were right at it. It's going to happen, Scottish Cup tie, so we just had to ride that 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then we got on the ball and we scored 2 good goals.
And how important was that, not just the first, but to get the second one so soon after the opener?
Yeah, it deflates them a little bit, and they got a lucky goal, well, not lucky, but a hard one for PJ, and it kind of gives them a little lift, but I thought we dealt with it. We got in half time, and the second half I thought we were much better.
There was a lot of composure on display as well. How important was that?
Yeah, we had to be composed. It's one of the games that you need to try and get on the ball if you can. I hear the music there. Because if you keep going long, it gives them a chance to win it. But no, I thought we done really well.
One of the key things I noticed as well was we consistently kept Darvel penned into their own final third. To what extent, as a player, does that kind of drain you when you're playing against that?
It does, aye. Like we fought Kai and Cal. We get at the fullbacks and the spaces they created. So that was kind of the game plan, was get the ball and get in between the fullbacks and centre backs. And I thought we'd done that well. And when that happens, they drop off and then you can get to play. So
talk us through the goal.
The gaffer said that a few times. He went, Hendo, you'll be a big player for us, getting in the box and arriving late. So when I seen Cal delivering it, I just thought I'd take a wee chance and glancing header and I went in. So I was buzzing there.
And that's it, at that point, really just kind of restored the footing in the game.
Yeah, definitely. And then after then, I was like, come on lads, let's get another one. Let's go again. So I thought we'd done that really well tonight.
To what extent did that third goal kind of put things to bed?
It killed him because they were pushing for the equaliser, and that third one took the steam out of them a little bit, and I thought that we dominated after that.
5-1, does it flatter ourselves? Is it a bit harsh on Darvel, or is it a fair reaction?
Yeah, I thought that once they got the man sent off, we took really control of the game in the third goal, and we kicked on, and as players and the team, we've got the spirit, we want to get more, we want to keep scoring, so I'm pleased for the lads and for the club.
And I think we can hear by the music in the background, but party time in the dressing room, is it?
Definitely, yeah. I was saying to the gaffer, he's got a day off tomorrow, so we're all going to Glasgow. No, I'm only joking. I wish we were, but no. We've got a massive game on Saturday coming up, so back to league business, and we'll hopefully take care of that on Saturday.
And just finally, what does it mean to be playing Ayr United back at the Falkirk Stadium in the next round?
Massive chance. They'll be saying the same, so let's take care of league business first, and then we'll focus on that.
Liam, congratulations on the goal, and always, that's your
Cheers,
time.
thank you. Cheers, guys.
By the way, Lewis managed to get a full interview in. You know what? That's just one John McGlynn question, and it's less.
Normally, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It's usually, that was 318. That was a full interview with Hendo. That's usually one question for John McGlynn. And by the way, they went out in Glasgow. There's no he's making a joke. We're only joking about going to Glasgow. He's went out in Glasgow. We all know. Spotted in the sub club or whatever he's wearing.
Oh, were they?
No, I'm just making it up, by the way. I'm just in case John McGlynn. I don't know if they were in Glasgow or not. I'm just speculating. But
I can see John McGlynn being the Alan Ferguson of the nightclub world in Scotland. He'll get a text saying, so we Leon McCann entering the temple.
Monday night in Glasgow. It'd be the garage. I think that's the only place you can go Monday night in Glasgow. Anyway, we'll fight. I'm sure they had a great time.
What I liked there, John, see when he was talking about PJ, in terms of like the mistake. I don't know if he's noticed this, but I only noticed it for watching the game back. But Hendo goes straight to PJ and almost lifts him up, and like not, and I don't mean just physically. He obviously you saw like he was properly having like try to get PJ back in the zone of kind of what we needed to do. So I thought that was brilliant by Big Hendo.
Yeah. Hendo's like that, eh? So I'm also with the foundation. I'm close with some of the players, and Hendo's like that. He likes to get players back in the zone, and that. And I think it's good. We need a player like that.
Yeah.
good leader on the park.
Yeah.
You can see in his interview just full enthusiasm, loves football. So well done, Hendo. And I love the fact they were playing The Gambler by Kenny Rogers in the background. I don't know if this is some sort of new Falkirk anthem or, if that was getting played from the dressing room, or if that was coming over the Darvel speakers, but I love The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. What a tune. Anyway, right, we'll get a view from the supporters. Callum's just sitting there going, what's The Gambler by Kenny Rogers? Honestly, going to any bar in Glasgow, do karaoke, someone's always up doing The Gambler. Right, anyway, what's the view from the supporters on this game? Let's kick off with Westy. Very professional performance this make 2-0 from PJ. The only real negative is it led to a shaky spell where they thought they'd equalise. The sending off killed the game and the finishing was top drawer. Hendo was unbelievable. Bring on air for a place at Hampden. Come on, you Bears!
There we go. Darryl says Henderson has been a massive difference in midfield. Ever since he's played there, it's coincided with a good form. Spot on. Oliver's been fantastic on the run as well. I know he doesn't get a lot of goals, but when he's in the team, we do play far better. Hard to argue.
Yeah, Brian, happy to be 6'4". This is Brian Flynn from behind the wall. He's happy to be 6'4", and one of the few had a decent view. Loved it once we got the third. Big Hendo, outstanding. Highlight was the Darvel bench doing a Fergie on the pitch when they thought they had equalised. Priceless.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think Brian probably would have been one of the few standing back that was happy. William says, played with the right attitude from the first whistle. We were on a hiding to nothing last night with the whole of Scottish football rooting for Darvel. That potential shock was virtually eliminated from the first whistle as we got right in their faces, and the third killed it.
Absolutely. David says the attitude and the work rate of the players was spot on. For me, that's more important than who plays up front or what formation. We won as a team. Well done, McGlynn, and all the players for getting it right.
Indeed. Martin says Liam Henderson completely bossed the midfield. I can't believe that BBC Scotland never gave him man of the match. A professional performance, and we did the job expected. They wanted us to lose, but better meddle with the deal than the Burns of Falkirk.
Can I just say as well, Ricky Foster was like on the telly, was just like, they're going, they're over, I think they're over celebrating. Hold on a minute. The BBC have just spent a week blowing smoke up Darvel's arse, right? The players have seen this, they've read the papers, they've read the radio, they've just had a favourable draw against Ayr in the quarterfinals. They've got a potential of getting a Hampden. Fucking right, they're going to celebrate.
Of course.
Because get it right up here. So, absolutely, Ricky Foster talking shite.
It's probably just a negative wee shite because is he not married or goes out with that moaning singer who used to
Amy McDonald's a lovely, lovely girl. Don't be mocking Amy McDonald. She's a really, really nice girl. And obviously went out with one of our former players, Stevie Lovell.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah,
honestly, there wasn't over celebration. That's all I'm saying. So
no, there wasn't. No,
definitely not.
There you go. But yeah, Liam Henderson should have got man of the match. Do agree with that. Derek, I thought Henderson and Nesbitt were superb all game, pressing, creating, scoring goals, completely dominated the middle of the park. It was a great team performance, thoroughly professional, and deserved to win by that margin. One step away from Hampden, says Derek.
Oh, so close. Ryan says professional and clinical performance. Henderson and Morrison, absolutely outstanding. PJ's mistake can be forgiven with a couple of great saves that he made. 100%. Never looked out of control at any point. The subs made a positive impact again, and we are one tough game away from Hampden.
Yeah, because, Ayr will fancy this as well. Ayr will have been, apart from not being a home draw, that's the draw that Ayr would have wanted, us at Inverness. Yeah. That's the draw we would have wanted as well. So, yeah, that's it. Garrett says, Liam Henderson, that's it. That's the tweet. And John says, as we are now the lowest ranked team left in the cup, does that mean we get the rank of the Fairytale bestowed upon us, and I can expect the entire town to be interviewed on the telly? It's a fair point. It is a fair point.
It's not going to happen, but I don't mind it though, because we're not media darlings. Like the full
like says, we don't care.
No, kind of, because we're forever getting cast up on social media about Falkirk, they think they're bigger than them. No, do you know what we are? We've got ambition to be where we've been before, and we want to get back there. That's what we are. We don't think we're a team that's in a place where we shouldn't be. We deservedly are in League One, but we want better, and we can get there.
No,
Definitely.
you're right, Ross. Spot on. Absolutely spot on. Right, okay, so we'll just pretend that Alloa didn't happen. Will we just concentrate on Darvel for Falkirk Daft rated and Falkirk Dafty for this week?
I think so. Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll pretend that the Alloa game didn't happen. Right, okay. Right, so Falkirk Daft rated. Let's come to you first, Callum. Who are you going for?
Liam Henderson, straight up. At least Liam Henderson.
Ross.
Make it too easy.
It's the hat trick for Big Hendo. You're some man, Hendo. Some
Yeah,
man.
he's some boy.
Love it. Right. Anyway, Falkirk Daft rated Liam Henderson. Falkirk Dafty.
I think it has to be the wee Polish guy. It kicked the ball and fell on his arse.
I heard about this.
He tried to kick the ball back, he just fell on his arse.
Is that the guy that looked? And I know you know him really well, John. So I'm going to say this in a positive way. But there was a policeman who looked like Grado from Scott Squad. Is it the same policeman, Callum?
Maybe it was Grado.
He had his face straight away and just faced the game. Did not look at the Falkirk fans at all.
That sounds like something that would happen in Scott Squad. And it might have been Grado. I'll message them now and find out.
Done that, faced the game. For the rest of the game, but didn't look at us at all.
Hold on, we'll do it. This is me being all showbiz now. I'll just voice note Grado to see if it was him. Hold on.
Can you not phone him?
Right, no, I'll voice note him because he'll send the voice note back. Grads, there was accusations that you were at the Falkirk squad dressed as Hugh McCurdy and that you tried to kick the ball and fall on your arse. Apparently, it was a post that looked exactly like you. So there's speculation that it could have been a Scott Squad sketch. Can you confirm or deny this? We'll see if we get something back from him by the end of the show.
Just such a name dropper.
Oh yeah, just drop a name there.
Even giving it the big nickname in there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Got to show off and all that. I do a wrestling podcast called Wrestling Daft with Grado. That's how I know that's it. Right. Anyway, so if you like wrestling, listen to Wrestling Daft. So that's Falkirk Daft from Callum. Have you got one? Ross?
I'm going to give the Falkirk Dafty of the week to the steward, who obviously did a fantastic job of searching everybody going in for Pyro, because he obviously did a fantastic job. Did I not?
Did you manage to see your Pyro in, Ross?
No, listen, I'm a big fan of them, but I where the hell did they hide them? Because
I don't think you want to know.
I don't want to know.
Absolutely everywhere, right? And I mean everywhere. And how the hell have they got them in? And listen, I'm a big fan of them, but I don't think I would risk.
I don't know where they hide them.
No.
Yeah, I don't think we want to know. I'm going to give Falkirk Dafty to Ricky Foster after that bit at the end.
Yeah.
So there you go. That is a good week apart from Alloa's side and the Darvel and Airdrie game. But listen, it's all about this cup. That's what I say. It's all about the cup this week. So quarterfinals. Here we come. We'll find out when that game will happen in the next week or so. Callum, thank you so much for being our guest pundit this week. Good luck with all the work and thanks for all the work you do at that foundation.
I've got more points to make actually. I've got my notes posted just for the wall there. It's got a wee hole in the wall.
Oh, it's right eyes.
Aye, so it's just basically in 2022 we had over 3,000 take part across all our programmes, from minis and babies to a blind club that we do for
wow.
So the youngest person that takes part is only 18 months old, who takes part in our minis and babies. And the oldest is 99, who comes to the blind club, which I think is brilliant.
Oh, it's amazing.
So it's more than football, the foundation. It's stuff for the community as well, to socialise and that. And we're big on mental health as well. We help lots of people with mental health and that. Also, we have SQA programmes, college courses that help young people gain qualifications like me. So I was a student on one of our courses. So I left school with no qualifications and I wanted to gain some. That's how I got my coaching badges and my mental health, my first aid and that. The foundation's done a lot for me. And our player pathway is also brilliant. Our women's pathway is from under sevens to our women's first team. We've been doing really well under manager Craig Tully. Don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Yeah, we've been keeping an eye on their scores and giving them a shout out and stuff.
Yeah. Our boys pathway is also brilliant, under sevens as well, up to our fit team. Obviously Stevie Gibson messages in as well.
Yeah,
I help out. Sometimes help with them because my dad coaches them. I help out with them.
Brilliant.
They're a great bunch of lads. Stevie's a good lad. Also, the boys programme, you can get brought up to the academy that started up. So I've seen players 1 week they wear a Foundation team next week though with the academy. It's brilliant, and also you're with the Foundation. You're really close with the club as well. Like, I'm good pally with some of the players. Great bunch of lads. John Paul as well. Top boys. Like I say, it's been here 3-4 years. Still loving it. Still going strong. And one day I'm one work for the club. It's my ambition to work for my club.
Oh, amazing.
Aye.
Listen, and for anything to do with the Falkirk Foundation, falkirkfoundation.org, is that right?
Aye. Yeah.
You can get involved. You can follow them on Twitter at Falkirk FCF as well for any updates. They do an amazing job, not just for the club, but for the community.
Yeah.
See so many kids, and as Callum saying there, just touches every aspect of the community, and you're doing great work, Callum. So thank you for that, and hopefully we'll see you involved full time at the club at some point, because you certainly putting the graft in, mate. And if you do spot any rumours, see anyone about the stadium in the next couple of days, you know who to talk to. We won't tell anyone, honestly. But listen, thanks for coming on, being our guest pundit this week. If you want to be a guest pundit just like Callum, please drop us a DM on Twitter, Facebook, or an email. We'd love to hear from you. falkirkdaftpod@gmail.com. Oh, we've heard back from Grado. Do you want to hear what Grado to say?
Let's do it then.
This is unedited. This could go either way. I hope he doesn't say anything offensive. Here we go.
See, if any fat policeman does anything, folk always ask if it's me. I can confirm it was not me. I was not near the Falkirk squad. And by the way, the Buffs, Cowan Rangers, have got a new management team. Assistant manager Ian Durant, and I would put our Cowan Rangers side against. I would take the Buffs against Falkirk if they played each other tomorrow.
There you go. It was great. It was just a fat boss. And he's trying to say winning Rangers would beat Falkirk. Shut up, Grado. Right, so
that was him. He's a lying bastard. That was
him. So thanks for coming on, Callum. We'll see you again sometime soon.
Yep, she's later, lads. Thank you.
This is Falkirk Daft.
So, we're moving on to the next game. We're got a game at the stadium. Oh my God, when was the last time we were at the stadium? Back at the start of January. Mental.
It feels like so long ago.
It does feel like so long ago. I can't even remember what the score was.
I can't even remember who we played.
Probably Alloa, because it was probably Alloa.
Probably, yeah, I know, we just play Alloa.
I cannot believe I can't remember what was it. Right, let's try to have a guess at this.
Oh wait, was it Montrose? I've got Montrose in my head.
Falkirk results. I cannot believe it. That is how long ago.
It's not been like 5 weeks or something.
Yeah, it was. Oh God, where are we? It wasn't actually. The last game we had at the stadium was against Clyde, and it was 4-0. Callum Wilson got sent off.
Oh, of course.
That was on the 14th of January. Jesus God. So it's been a run of 5 away games. And guess who we're playing on Saturday at the stadium? Alloa. We don't really have to preview this game, do we? No. We have spoken about them. The one thing I would say, after watching us last week against them, is let's just play our game, play our own game.
Yeah.
Not fannying about with the formation. We're back on our own pitch. We know the width works. We know we've got 2 of the best wingers in the league, out and out wingers who like to get players. There could be questions. Brad Mackay, I'm guessing Sean Mackey will come in for Brad, because I don't think Brad's going to be ready for Saturday.
Yeah, I would assume so.
And I think that's probably the only change that will get made, unless he wants to try Raman or Jordan Allen up front, or Matthew Wright. That's the only.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be minimal changes from Monday. He likes a winning team, as we know. Brilliant win on Monday night. I'd be shocked if there's too many changes. I think you're right. I think it'll be Mackey.
Yeah. As we see, Alloa are no slouches. We saw that at the Rex. They are into the playoffs now, and they are on 39 points, equal with Airdrie at the moment. They will fancy to come and get some. NFC Edinburgh on a howling run at the moment. 4 losses on the spin.
Sounds like they're going to fall away.
It looks that way, certainly. Montrose are kind of up and down. So Alloa really fancy their chances of getting into this playoff spot.
Definitely. And as you say, we don't really need to preview because we've played them twice in the last 4 weeks. But this will be a different game. The 2 games against them at the Rex were tough games, but as you said, this is on our pitch, which is a big pitch. We know how to play it. We know we scalped them at our place in October, so we know how to beat them. So let's just repeat that October game, and we'll move on, and hopefully Airdrie get a point or 3 at East End Park.
Well, let's hope for that. Score predictions for Saturday, Ross?
I think it'll be. I know we've had a couple of tight games with them, but I think we'll score a few goals after the confidence for Monday night. I'm going to say 3-1 Falkirk.
3-1 Falkirk. I'll go for a 2-0. No, in fact, I'll say I'll go 3-1 as well, because I think Connor Sam will inevitably score in the stadium. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens there. But that is it for this week's Falkirk Daft. A lot to get through this week. Big Question will return next week. I'm sure lots of people have been waiting for that to return. But in the meantime, thanks for listening, watching. You'll get us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Like and subscribe. We'd love to get some more sponsors on though, however. If you're a young business out there, we've got packages to suit everyone. We're a growing podcast. We can really touch into local communities. We've got a lot of people getting their eyes on our social media channels. So yeah, if you want to be involved with Falkirk Daft, we'd love to have you on board. Please get in touch with us, falkirkdaftpod@gmail.com, falkirkdaftpod@gmail.com, if you would like to have your business featured all over this podcast. And remember, if you can join our Discord channel. A lot of great chat in there, a lot of members, and I think there's over 100 members in the Discord channel now as well. A lot of Falkirk discussion goes on there before, during and after the games, as well as lots of rumours and speculation. On to Alloa now, back to the league, bring on the quarter-finals. I'm wanting that to come really, really soon, but we've got a lot of ground in between there and now, and we're still waiting to find out when this Dunfermline game is going to be rescheduled for.
Hopefully that won't be too far away, getting that confirmed now that we know the sort of cup situation as well. But you're right, John, we've got 3 huge league games before we even think about Ayr, so that's 9 points that could go a massive long way. Exactly.
We'll see you back at the stadium finally on Saturday, and until next time,
moan the Falkirk Bairns, John. Expect the unexpected, buddy.
I was going to say, even that's not your catchphrase. Expect the unexpected.